the first educational institution in human history, that is called academy. He has started the first educational institution that's called as academy. Plato lived for almost 80 years in 5th century BC, and he wrote so many books. Among them, 3 books are very important. The first one is a Republic. A Republic is the first book that he has written. In that book, he described the theory of ideal state, the theory of model state. Model state is called ideal state. I-D-E-A-L, ideal. Ideal means model, a good state. So he has given the theory of ideal state in his first book, Republic. Plato has also written another book called Statesman. Statesman. Statesman is another important book that Plato has written. And the third important book that Plato has written is the Laws. Law, L-A-W-S. Law means a legislation. Law. Law means a legislation with rules and regulations is called as law. The Laws. So these are the 3 important books that Plato has written. Republic, Statesman, the Laws. Republic, Statesman, and the Laws. So these are the 3 important books that Plato has written. In these books, Plato has followed the deductive method, What is the deductive method? Deductive method means he has observed the whole society. He has observed the behaviors of the people, attitudes of the people, and he has theorized what are the qualities of one person, an average person in Greek society. So from the whole lot of people, he has observed all the qualities and he has theorized the qualities of one person or average person, average citizen, average person of Greek city-states. So that is called as deductive method. Deductive method means first observing the whole society, how people are there, what are their qualities, what are their behaviors and everything. And you make one person out of the whole lot and theorize his qualities is called as deductive method. Sir, this lesson is in Unit 2, second unit in Western political thought. We are discussing about Plato. Plato has written 3 books. What are the books that Plato has written? Hello?
Sir. Republic, Statesman, the Laws.
The first book is?
Republic.
Yeah, the Republic, Statesman, and the Laws. These are the 3 books written by Plato in 5th century BC. So in all the 3 books, Plato has followed the deductive method. Deductive method. Deductive method means he has observed the whole society and he has deducted one person from the society and he has theorized the qualities of that person. So generally, if you are talking about behaviors of people, how people behave, how the people of Khammam district behave, how people of Warangal district behave, how people of Karimnagar district behave, and you deduct one person and you attribute all the qualities of that district to that person. So that is how this is called deductive method. So deductive method is a philosophical method followed by Plato. And with this deductive method, he has theorized the qualities of one individual in his concept called Tripartite Man. Tripartite Man. Tripartite Man. Tripartite means, tri means three. Part means there are three parts in a human being. There are three qualities in a human being according to Plato. So this is called the concept of tripartite man. The tripartite man. Human soul, according to Plato, has three important qualities. One is reason, the second one is appetite, and the third one is courage. The first one is reason. Every individual seems to be very reasonable. So reason is the first quality. The second quality is courage. Everybody is courageous. So the third quality is appetite. Appetite means desires. Everybody in the society has certain desires. So these are the three qualities of an average person. Reason, courage, and appetite. Reason, courage, and appetite. Reason, courage, and appetite. These are the three qualities of any individual. So having these three qualities, an individual is called as a tripartite man. A tripartite man. Tripartite means three parts in a human being, human soul. It's called as tripartite man. According to Plato, in every human being, there are three important parts. One is reason, the other one is courage, the third one is appetite. But these three qualities are not in the same proportion in all the persons. Some people may be having more reason, some people may be having more courage, some people may be having more appetite. So he has observed these three qualities in every individual. So in every individual, on an average, these are the three qualities that Plato has observed. The first one is reason. Everybody is reasonable. Everybody is rational, according to Plato. So the first quality of every individual is reasonableness. Reason. Second one is courage. Everybody has some courage. Some people may be having more courage. Some people having less courage. Or some people may be having average courage. But courage is definitely there in every individual. In the nature also, even in animals, we find courage. For example, in a cat, compared to a dog, may be having less courage. A dog having more courage. So likewise, all the other creatures having courage is there, but in different proportions. So that's what Plato also says. Every person is having the courage, but some people have more courage and some people have less courage. So this is the second one. The third one is appetite. Appetite means desire. Everybody has so many wants, desires, wishes. So they are called as the appetite. Some people may be wanting more money. Some people may be wanting employment, good employment. Some people want good political positions. Some people want a good home, a rich home. Some people may be wanting skills in employment. So everybody is having some desire, some want. So having wants, having desires in everybody is called as appetite. So according to Plato, in every human being, you find these three important qualities. So first one is reason, second one is courage, and third one is appetite. So having these three qualities as three parts of human soul is called as tripartite man. Tripartite man. In every human being, there are three important parts. So they are called as tripartite man. What do you mean by tripartite man according to Plato?
There are three reasons.
Yeah, three qualities.
Three qualities, reason, courage, and appetite.
Yeah, these are the three qualities. These are the three parts of human soul. So these three parts are called as tripartite man. So in every human being, there are three qualities, three parts of human soul. This is called as tripartite man. And according to Plato, these three qualities are not exactly in same proportion in all the people. Some people having more reason, some people having more courage, some people having more appetite. So that means these three qualities are very disproportionate in all the people. Some people have more courage, some people have more reason, some people have more appetite. So that's why Plato says, a society can be made into three social classes according to these three qualities. All the persons who are having more reason are called as philosopher king's class. Philosopher king's class. And all the people who are having more courage, they are called as soldiers class. Soldiers class. And all the people who are having more appetite are called as working class. So there are three important social classes corresponding to three important qualities of human being. What are the three important qualities in a human being? Reason, courage
and appetite.
So, yeah. And the persons who are having more reason are called as philosopher king's class. The people who are having more courage are called as soldiers class. And the people who are having more appetite, they are called as working class. So these three social classes are formed according to the qualities of the human being. So here we have to write it in a side heading. While writing about Plato, you have to write it. First, Plato is born in 5th century BC. Plato is born in a Greek city-state called Athens. Plato is born in 5th century BC. Plato has started an education institution called Academy. And Plato has written so many books. Among them, Republic, Statesman, and the Laws. These are the three important books. And Plato followed the deductive method, and he has followed the deductive method. So this is all comes in introduction. And the first point is, Plato's political philosophy has certain points. The first point is tripartite man. Tripartite man. Tripartite man means in every human being, in every human soul, there are three important parts. The first part is reason. The second part is courage. The third part is appetite. So Plato has observed that in every human being, these are the three important qualities: reason, courage, and appetite. So the person who is having all the three important parts of a human soul is called as a tripartite man. Tripartite man. So this is the first point. The second point is, please tell me. Hello?
Tripartite.
Tripartite.
Spelling, sir.
T-R-I, tri, P-A-R-T, part, I-T-E, tripartite man, T-R-I, P-A-R-T-I-T-E, T-I-T, tripartite, tripartite man, T-R-I, P-A-R-T-I-T-E, tripartite man. So in every human being, there are the three important parts of his human soul: reason, courage, and appetite. This is the first side heading. Second side heading is three social classes. three social classes. According to Plato, based on the three important parts of human soul, three more important classes can be established in the society. So the people with more reason are called as philosopher king's class. The people with more courage are called as soldiers class. And the people with more appetite are called as working class. So there are three social classes in a society. The first one is philosopher kings. They rule the country. They are the administrators. They are the employees. They rule the country. They rule the government. So they are called as philosopher king's class. Philosopher king class or employees class. The second one is soldiers class. It is the soldiers class that protect the country from wars and external aggression. So this is how the soldiers class is required. The third one is the class for agriculture and artisan, rural artisan and handicrafts, articrafts, rural services. They are called as the working class. So these are the three important classes corresponding to three parts of the human soul. According to Plato, there are three important parts in a human soul: reason, courage, and appetite. Reason, courage, and appetite. So accordingly, there are three important social classes according to Plato. The first class is the class with more reason. They are called as philosopher king's class. And second class is the class with more courage. That's called as the soldiers class. And the third important class is working class. That working class, the class to perform the agriculture, rural services, handicrafts, articrafts, and everything. So they are called as the working class. This is how there are three important classes in a society based on three important qualities of human beings. What are the three important classes? Hello?
Philosopher
king's class, soldier class, and working class.
Working class, okay? This is how there are three important classes in a society based on three important qualities of every human being. Now, the third point is Plato's scheme of education. Plato's scheme of education. Here, Plato wanted to identify in which person, which quality is more. In which person, which quality is more. In which person, the quality decides the class. So if a person is having more reason, he can be called as a philosopher kings. If a person is having more courage, he can be called as a soldier. If a person is having more appetite, he can be called as a working class. But how to decide? How do we know that a person is having more reason or more courage or more appetite? For this, Plato has given the scheme of education and he has conducted some examinations. Through these examinations, Plato has decided who should become the philosopher king, who should become the soldier, and who should become the worker. So this is called as Plato's scheme of education. Plato's scheme of education. So the third point here is Plato's scheme of education. After writing introduction about Plato, the first point is Tripartite Man. The second point is three social classes: the philosopher king's class, the soldiers class, and the working class. And the third point is Plato's scheme of education. In the Plato's scheme of education, Plato has suggested that parents should not nurse their children. Once a child is born, parents should surrender that child to the government. They should not enjoy the childhood of their children. No person, no parent should know about their children. No children should know about their parents. All the parents, once the baby is born, once the boy is born, they should surrender that child to the government office, like in MRO office. They should surrender all the newborn children. And it is the government that nurse them and that gives them education without having parents. Parents should not know who should be their child. Children should not know who should be their parents. So likewise, children should be grown. All the children in the society should be grown in a government home without knowing about their parents, without having any contact with the parents. So this is how Plato has said the children should be given education for 35 years. For the first 20 years, that is called primary education. And at the age of 20 years, all the children will be given an examination. Whoever is passing the exam are only eligible for higher education. Whoever is failing in the examination, that becomes the working class. At the age of 20 years, all the children, after giving education, he conducts an examination. According to Plato, an examination should be held. And in that examination, whoever gets the pass mark, whoever passes the examination, become the higher education, eligible for higher education. And those people who are not successful, who have failed in the examination, are called as working class. At the age of 20, he decides who should be the workers in the society. So all the children, after giving 20 years of education, he conducts an examination and asks the children to write an examination. And whoever is passing in the examination, he is considered as eligible for higher education. And whoever is failing in the examination is given the position of worker in the society. This is how he recognizes the working class. And those people who have passed the examination can be given 10 more years of education till the age of 30 years of the child. At the age of 30 years, he conducts one more examination. He conducts another examination. Whoever is passing in the examination, they are called as philosopher king's class. Whoever is failing in the examination, they are called as soldiers class. So this is how, if the person is unsuccessful at the age of 20 years, he becomes a working class. If a person is unsuccessful at the age of 30 years, he becomes soldier. And only those people who become successful at the age of 30 or become philosopher kings. So this is how he makes an examination. He makes two examinations, one at the age of 20 and the other one at the age of 30. So with these two examinations, he decides all the three classes in the society. What are the three classes? Hello?
Philosopher king class, soldier class, and working class.
Working class. According to Plato's scheme of education, all the children should be surrendered to the government. Children should not know about their parents, and parents should not know about their children. It is the government in a hostel, in a home, in a shelter home. It grows up the children, it nurses the children, and it provides the education to the children without any interference from parents. Parents should not know about the children, or children should not know about the parents. So this is how children should be given education for first 20 years, from the time of birth to 20 years. That is called the primary education. Students should be given primary education for 20 years. So within the 20 years also, again, Plato has classified first phase, second phase, and third phase. The first 6 years are called first phase. Between 7 years to 14 years are called second phase. And 15 years to 20 years called third phase. So according to Plato, for the first 6 years, children should be given education on alphabets, minimum mathematics, handwriting, moral stories, and everything. From 7 years to 15 years or 14 years, children should be given some games, sports, mathematics, science, social, and everything. And from 15 years to 20 years, all the children will be given adventurous sports like horse riding, trekking, swimming, and these things. And they'll also be known as some of the mathematics, geometry, geography, and everything, astronomy, all these subjects. And at the age of 20 years, an examination will be conducted. And whoever is successful in the exam are eligible for higher education. And if the student is not successful and he fails in the examination, he is considered as working class. He becomes a worker. So this is how Plato's education system decides who is a worker, who is a soldier, and who is a philosopher king. So at the age of 20 years, an examination will be conducted. And in that examination, if any person is failed, he is considered as working class. And those people who are successful in the examination are eligible for higher education. So those people will be given 10 more years of education. And at the age of 30 years, another examination will be conducted. Another examination will be conducted. So in that examination, if people are failed, if any person is failed, he is considered as a soldier. He is considered as a soldier. And whoever is passed in the examination, he is called as a philosopher king. You please tell me how Plato has classified 3 social classes through his education system. Hello?
Sir, again, sir, question.
How Plato has classified philosopher kings, soldiers, and workers with his scheme of education.
Sir, first he exam, sir, after the 20 years.
Yes.
Who will fail in that exam? They will consider as
workers.
After this exam, again 10 years will be give the study to them. After the 10 years, they will conduct again exam. Who will pass in that exam? He will promoted as a philosopher king, and the other person will select as a soldiers.
Wonderful. Very rightly said. So this is how, based on his education, based on his system of education, Plato has categorized people into 3 types: philosopher kings, soldiers, and workers. So this is how there are 3 important social classes in a society. This is the 3rd para. And 4th para is Plato's theory of communism. Plato's theory of communism. Plato's theory of communism is the 4th important side heading. Now let me repeat the side headings. The first side heading is Tripartite Man. Tripartite Man. Every person is having 3 important qualities of human soul: reason, courage, and appetite. So that is called tripartite man. 3 parts in every human soul. The second important part is 3 social classes: philosopher kings, soldiers, and workers. Based on the 3 important qualities or parts. And 3rd one is his scheme of education. And 4th one is his theory of communism. His theory of communism. According to Plato, there are 3 social classes in any society. The first class is philosopher kings, the second class is soldiers, and the 3rd class is workers. So Plato has suggested that the first 2 classes, the philosopher kings and soldiers, should not have marriage. Should not have marriage. Only workers should only perform their marriage. only workers should have marriage, and philosopher kings and soldiers should not have marriage or family. So this is called prohibition of family for philosopher kings and soldiers, and allowing marriage for workers. This is the first part. And secondly, all the philosopher kings. Hello?
Sir, excuse me.
Cheppandi.
Sir, can you repeat that tidings?
First of all, you have to write about when there is a question on Plato's ideal state. Explain Plato's theory of ideal state.
Yes, sir.
In that question, first you have to write about Plato, basic information. Plato born in 5th century BC. Plato born in a Greek city-state called Athens. Plato has written so many books, among them Republic, Statesman, and The Laws are the 3 important books. And Plato has followed the deductive method in all his writings. And Plato has started an educational institution called the Academy. So this is all about the basic information about Plato. That you must write in introduction. The first side heading is Tripartite Man. Tripartite Man. What do you mean by tripartite man? Hello?
A man having 3 qualities is called tripartite man.
Yeah. What are the 3 qualities?
Aptitude,
reason,
and courage.
Reason, courage, and appetite.
Appetite. Reason, courage, and appetite. These are the 3 parts of human behavior. So this is called tripartite man. This you have to write as first side heading. In every human being, Plato has observed 3 important elements. 3 important elements of human soul. 3 important qualities of human behavior. They are reason, courage, and appetite. So all these 3 important parts is called as tripartite man. This is the first side heading. The second side heading is 3 social classes. 3 social classes. According to Plato, based on 3 important qualities of human behavior, there are 3 social classes. There are 3 social classes based on the 3 important qualities of human being. People with more reason are called as philosopher kings. People with more courage are called as soldiers. People with more appetite are called as working class. So there are the 3 social classes. The second side heading is 3 social classes. The first side heading is, first side heading is
Tripartite man.
Second side heading?
3 social classes.
3 social classes. What are the 3 social classes?
Philosopher kings, soldier class, and working class.
Working class. Philosopher kings class, soldiers class, and working class. So these 3 social classes are made based on the system of education. So the third para is Plato's scheme of education. Plato's scheme of education. Within the Plato's scheme of education, he says that all the children of the parents should be surrendered to the government. No parent is allowed to grow their children in their homes. All the parents should surrender their children at the time of birth of the child to the local revenue officer, a local government office. In turn, the government itself will nurse them, will grow them, will provide them education, will take care of everything. So this is how Plato's scheme of education believes that all the people, irrespective of caste, creed, religion, gender, region, all the people should be grown by government itself. And all the children will be given primary education till 20 years of age. Till 20 years of age, all the children will be given primary education. In the primary education, from the time of birth to 20 years, he considered 3 phases. For up to 6 years, there is one phase. From 7 years to 14 years, the second phase. Then 15 years to 20 years, the third phase. And at the age of 20 years, an examination will be conducted. And whoever the students that are successful in the examination are eligible for higher education. And whoever the students that are unsuccessful and are failed in the examination become the working class in the society. The working class in the society. This is how the first step is. At the age of 20 years, he conducts one examination. After that, he provides education for 10 more years. And at the age of 30 years, another examination will be conducted. And in that examination, whoever is successful in the examination, they become the philosopher kings. And whoever is unsuccessful or failed in the examination, they become the soldiers class. So this is how the three social classes, the philosopher kings, soldiers, and workers, are made with the scheme of education of Plato. And the fourth side heading is Plato's theory of communism. Plato's theory of communism. Please tell me what are the side headings that I have told you? The first side heading is...
Tripartite Man is the first one is the tripartite man. And the second one is the three social classes. And the third one is Plato's scheme of education.
Right.
And the fourth one is Plato theory of communism, sir?
Communism.
Okay, sir, got it.
Yeah, Plato's theory of communism has two important components. He says, only workers are eligible for marriage. Workers only should have marriage, the facility of marriage. The other two classes should not marry, should not have any family. This is the first point. There should not be any marriage or family for philosopher kings and soldiers. Only workers are allowed to have marriages. This is one thing. And second thing is, only workers have the right to property. Only workers should earn the property. And other two classes, they do not have any right on property, and they should do the jobs. They should do whatever the job given by the government. So the philosopher kings and soldiers have not the ability to earn. They should not have any property. That's called prohibition of property and prevention of marriage. The first point is prevention of marriage and family. Second point is prohibition of property. So only workers are allowed to have marriage, and philosopher kings and soldiers should not have marriage or family life, and they are not allowed to have property. Why? Why Plato has put this restriction? Because if they are allowed to have marriage, family, and property, they become corrupt. They become corrupt. The society also may become a corrupt society. So to challenge corruption from the society, Plato has suggested that among the three classes, the first two classes, namely the philosopher kings and soldiers, should not have the right to marriage, right to family, or right to property. Only working classes should have the right to marriage, right to property, and right to family. So this is called as Plato's theory of communism. According to Plato's theory of communism, only working classes are allowed to have marriage, working classes are allowed to have family, and working classes are allowed to have property. So this is called as Plato's theory of communism. What is the objective of Plato's theory of communism? Plato's theory of communism wanted to wipe out corruption from the society. It wanted to stop corruption in the society. If government employees are allowed to have marriage and have family and have property, and they become more corrupt, that's why Plato suggested that all the government employees, namely the philosopher kings and soldiers, should not have the right to marriage. They should not have the right to property. They should not have the right to family. So this is how Plato has suggested that only working classes should have the right to marriage and should have the right to property, should have right to family. This is called as Plato's theory of communism. And Plato suggested that the fifth point here is Plato's theory of communism of wives. Communism of wives. Communism of wives is the fifth point. Communism of wives. What is the first point? Hello?
Tripartite man.
Right. Second point.
And second point is three social classes.
Three social
Third
classes.
point is Plato's scheme of education.
Fourth point is
Plato theory of communism.
Plato's theory
of communism.
And fifth point is Plato's theory of communism of wives. Communism of wives. The fifth point is communism of wives. You should not confuse between fourth point and fifth point. In the fourth point, he suggested that philosopher, kings, and soldiers should not have any marriage. Only workers should have marriage. But in fifth point, he suggested certain new things. That is called communism of wives. He says the philosopher, kings, and soldiers may have sexual pleasures with the wives of the working classes. The wives of the working classes. He says on certain festival days or on the national days, the philosopher, kings, and soldiers can go to the houses of working classes and they can have sexual pleasures with the wives of the working classes. So this appears to be very unethical, immoral, but Plato has suggested this. According to Plato, the people, particularly the philosopher, kings, and soldiers, they also have very good health standards and everything. They are also eligible for marriage life, but they are denied about marriage and family. That's why for the sexual pleasures of the philosopher, kings, and soldiers, they can go to the houses of workers, working classes, and they can have pleasures with the wives of the working classes. So Plato has suggested that a law should be made that the wives of the workers should be accessible to philosopher, kings, and soldiers. So this is called as communism of wives. Communism of wives. So this is the fifth point. Fifth point is communism of wives. The sixth point is, in Plato's ideal state, the sixth point is women's freedom. Women's freedom. According to Plato, all men and women are free. Women should not have any restrictions. Women also need to have more freedom. Women should have accessibility to education, jobs, properties, and everything. He says women's potentials, women's talents, women's intelligence should be useful to the state, should be useful to the government. That's why he is opposed to the gender discrimination and he is in favor of women's freedom. That's why Plato is considered as the first feminist in the human history. He is the first feminist in the human history. He wanted more freedom to women. He wanted more freedom, more employment opportunities, more educational opportunities for women. So in his ideal state, as the sixth point, Plato has suggested that more freedom to women, more freedom to women. And he also suggested the seventh point, certain marriage reforms. Marriage reforms. He has suggested certain reforms for the traditional marriage system. He says that marriages should not be permanent. There should not be any permanent marriage system. So marriage should always be temporary. So in the marriage reforms, Plato suggested that marriages should be temporary. Marriage should be based on the consent of both male and female. So that's why marriage should be a permanent on contractual basis for 3 years contract or 4 years contract or 5 years contract between a man and a woman. If both are satisfied, the contract may be renewed after the contract period. So he is in favor of contractual marriages than permanent marriages. Plato is in favor of contractual marriages than permanent marriages. This is the 7th point, marriage reforms. And Plato also suggested that if any person is not married for a long time, he should be levied tax. He should pay tax to the government. So one should not be unmarried for longer period. According to Plato, if any person is not married for a longer period, he should pay tax to the government. For not performing his marriage, he should pay tax to the government. So these are the marriage reforms. Now you please tell me what are the side headings? Hello? What are the side headings in Plato's theory of ideal state? Hello?
The first one is tripartite man. Second one is 3 social classes. Third one is Plato's scheme of education, and fourth one is Plato theory of communism. And fifth one is Plato theory of communism of wives. Sixth one is women's freedom. Seventh one is marriage reforms.
Yeah. And the 8th one is, yeah. In the marriage, what are the marriage reforms he has suggested?
Marriage reforms, marriage should not be permanent.
Yeah.
It should be temporary.
On contractual basis.
On contractual basis. So there is a doubt, sir. If a man who didn't marry for a long time, he has to pay taxes to the government.
Yeah, if a man or a woman who remains as bachelor for longer periods,
the bachelor belongs to the only working class.
Yeah, working class.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes,
and the 9th point here is, the government should be run by philosopher kings only. The philosopher kings only should run the government. The government should be run only by philosopher kings. So all the philosopher kings should become the government employees. The government employees are nothing but the philosopher kings. The philosopher kings only should run the government because they know about philosophy. They can solve any problem by virtue of their education and wisdom. They are more educated. They are educated up to 35 years of age. So that's why Plato says that only philosopher kings are eligible for the ruling the country. So he suggested that philosopher kings rule. Philosopher kings rule. That's my rule by philosopher kings. The government by philosopher kings. So that is the 9th point. So friends, these are some of the important points of Plato's ideal state. Of course, there is also a lot of criticism against Plato's theory of ideal state. The first one is Plato has observed that there are only 3 qualities in a human being: reason, courage, and appetite. But according to Aristotle, there are so many qualities in every human being. Why only 3? Every person is having love, compassion, friendship, cooperation, kindness. These are the human qualities. But Plato's scheme of education, Plato's Tripartite Man did not discuss about other qualities. This is the first criticism that his own student Aristotle has brought out. Aristotle made a criticism against Plato, stating that Plato has observed only 3 qualities, but in every human being, there are so many qualities. Why only 3? Only reason, courage, and appetite, he has suggested. But there is no love, cooperation, freedom, or generosity. These are also the qualities. But Plato has not suggested them. Aristotle criticized his tripartite man. And secondly, Plato has suggested that there are only 3 social classes in any society. But there are so many professions in the society. we have agriculturists, we have teachers, we have handicraftsmen, we have barbers, we have washermen, we have pot makers, we have gold makers. There are so many professions. Why only 3 professions? That's also another criticism. And third one is, Plato's scheme of education was also criticized. According to Plato, all the parents should surrender their children to the government. But it is unnatural. It is against nature. Whatever the children are there, parents live for the children. Even animals also do not leave their offspring. If a small puppy is taken away by a small boy, the mother dog chases him. This is the nature. Nature always says that parents should protect the children. But Plato could not understand the nature, and he suggested that it is the government that should take care of children. This is unnatural. Surrendering the children to government is very unnatural. In Aristotle, his own student Aristotle criticized Plato against this. And Plato's scheme of education runs up to 35 years of age. Nobody studies up to 35 years of age in his human life. There are some people who may study, but without any occupation, without any employment, without any avocation, can anybody be a student for 35 years? The longer period of education is also criticized. And Plato's theory of communism is also criticized, particularly the communism of wives. It is very immoral. It is unethical. He is allowing the philosopher kings and the soldiers to go to houses of the working classes and have sexual pleasures with those people, with the ladies of working classes. So it is very immoral and unethical according to Aristotle. So this is how Plato's theory of Plato's conception of marriage is also criticized. In fact, some of the societies like Indian society, they want marriage should be a lifelong matter. Nobody wants a contractual marriage, but Plato suggested it. So there are so many criticisms against Plato. So in the last para, in 10th para, you have to write the criticism against Plato. Now you please tell me what are the important points in Plato's theory of ideal state? Hello?
The Tripartite Man. 3 social classes. Plato's scheme of education and Plato's theory of communism. Plato's theory of communism of wives, women's freedom, marriage reforms, and bachelor men or women paying taxes to the government. God should be ruled by only philosopher kings because philosopher kings is the most.
Rule of philosopher kings. And lastly, criticism.
Yes, sir. It's because it is the
criticism against the Plato.
Emma?
Criticism against the Plato.
Criticism against Plato, given by Aristotle, his student Aristotle. Plato's student is Aristotle. Aristotle criticized Plato on so many grounds. First one is his tripartite man is criticized. According to Aristotle, there are so many qualities in human beings. Why only 3 qualities? The first
for working classes, which works are comes, sir, in according to the working classes, which type of works are comes?
Agricultural work, handicrafts, rural services, all these works. Agriculture, cultivation, domestic industries, they're all called as working classes, according to Plato. He has not categorized. That is also criticized by Aristotle. He only simply says they are all working classes. But within the working class also, there are so many professions. There are barbers, there are washermen, there are blacksmiths, goldsmiths, there are carpenters, there are plumbers, there are agriculturists, there are cultivators, there are agricultural laborers, There are so many people, so many professions are there. And he categorized everything as working classes. So this was also criticized by his student Aristotle. And most importantly, his scheme of education was criticized for its long-term duration. According to Plato, the scheme of education runs for 35 years. So that's a long-term duration of education. That is not acceptable. And Plato's theory of communism, particularly communism of wives, is criticized as immoral. So these are all the criticisms against Plato's theory of ideal state. In the next class, we'll be discussing about Plato's theory of justice and Aristotle. Okay, Nama? Hello?
Yes, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, Amar. We'll stop here.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Sir, excuse me, sir. Hello. Hello. Hello.